welcome to the deep dive. Today we're embarking on a really fascinating exploration, actually. We're looking at C1 level English vocabulary, specifically words starting with the letter I. Now that might sound a bit narrow, but honestly, the sheer number and the richness of these words, it's pretty remarkable. We're not just scratching the surface here.
No, definitely not. Think of it like zooming in, really getting under the hood of these advanced terms. Our goal isn't just to give you definitions. We want to make these words, really stick, show how they work in actual language.
Exactly, and why getting them right really elevates how you communicate.
Yeah, the range of ideas just within these I words.
Yeah.
It says a lot about English.
It really does. These words are kind of a key, aren't they, for unlocking more precise, more confident ways of expressing yourself. It's like beyond just knowing a synonym. It's
Right.
about grasping the subtle weight each word carries, getting that finer control over how you say things and how you understand what you're reading or hearing.
And we're covering quite a bit of ground. We'll touch on abstract stuff like ideological and the belief systems, the ideologies themselves, but also more concrete things like identification or, say, the practical side of implementation.
And then there are words like, idiot, which we need to talk about carefully.
Oh, definitely. It's important to recognize, but maybe not to use. We'll also look at states of being like ignorance and isolation.
Right, and we'll dig into how these words operate differently, in formal writing versus just everyday conversation, or when you're trying to understand complex arguments.
Yeah, and the descriptive power too. Words like imagery.
Oh, good one. Or that sense of scale with immense.
Yes. And that feeling of something about to happen with imminent.
We'll also try and untangle some nuances, like the difference between, say, imprison and incarcerate.
Good point. And processes like implementation. Foundational ideas too, like inability or inadequate.
Yeah, and maybe looking at when you'd use incur versus maybe induce, getting those subtle differences right.
That's the aim.
So, get ready to really solidify your grasp on these I words. Have you ever actually stopped to think how often these specific words pop up, and if you're like 100% sure on the meaning every time?
That's a good question.
Well, this deep dive should hopefully provide that clarity, give you the confidence to use them accurately. So let's start. How about identification?
Okay, identification.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the process of figuring out exactly what something is, or who someone is, of course.
Right, like showing your ID to get into a building, that's identification.
Exactly. That's a very practical example.
Well-
Or think about science. A biologist's identification of a new kind of insect. That expands knowledge. But it's not just physical things. It can be more personal, more emotional. Like when you feel a strong identification with a character in a film, you relate to their situation.
That's a great point. It shows how the word stretches, doesn't it? From like security checks to science to empathy. It covers that human drive to categorize things and also to connect.
Precisely. It's about understanding and relating.
Okay, so from identification, let's shift to ideological.
Right. Ideological. That's the adjective. It means something is related to or based on a particular set of ideas or beliefs, an ideology, often political or maybe religious, cultural.
So you might say a discussion suddenly turned ideological, like moving away from facts to core beliefs.
Exactly. Or, two groups might struggle to agree because their ideological differences are just too fundamental. And the noun, of course, is ideology.
Which is the system of beliefs itself.
Yes, like capitalism is an ideology, socialism is another. Understanding what ideology is helps you grasp why societies are structured in certain ways or where some conflicts really come from. It's often the why behind the scenes.
So it's like the deep-seated belief system that informs the surface arguments. That makes sense for why some disagreements are just so hard to resolve. Okay, now, that word you mentioned earlier, idiot.
Yes. Idiot. Okay, so the definition is straightforward. A very foolish or unintelligent person. It's a noun. But, and this is really key, it's informal and it's considered offensive. Really quite disrespectful.
Yeah.
So while you absolutely need to understand what it means if you hear or read it,
You probably shouldn't use it yourself.
definitely not. There are always better, more respectful, and frankly, more precise ways to point out a mistake or, poor judgment.
Absolutely. Recognize it, don't use it. Find a better word. Okay, let's move to ignorance.
Ignorance, also a noun. It simply means a lack of knowledge or awareness about something specific.
So it's not necessarily an insult.
Not inherently, no.
Okay.
It just describes a state of not knowing. For instance, someone's ignorance of a particular custom might lead to an awkward social moment, but it wasn't malicious.
Right.
The important part isn't the ignorance itself. It's the reaction when someone realizes they don't know something. Do they try to learn, or do they sort of stay uninformed?
Yeah, that choice is the defining factor, isn't it? Okay, next up, imagery.
Imagery. This is a great one. It's a noun, and it refers to language that paints vivid pictures in your mind. Language that appeals to the senses.
Like in literature or poetry.
Exactly. A writer describing, say, a bustling market scene with all the sounds and smells that's using imagery. It makes the writing come alive.
It makes abstract things feel more real, more tangible.
Precisely. It helps you connect emotionally, even physically, with what's being described. It's powerful stuff.
Like painting with words. Okay, how about immense?
Immense. Adjective.
Yeah.
It means extremely large or great, significantly large.
So bigger than big.
Yeah, it carries more weight than just big or large. Think about an immense task versus a big task, or feeling immense relief. It suggests a scale that's almost, maybe overwhelming.
Right, it emphasizes the vastness, the intensity, and
Imminence.
Imminent, also an adjective. This one means something is about to happen very soon, and it often carries a sense of seriousness or maybe even threat.
Like an imminent storm or an imminent deadline. Exactly. There's a feeling of urgency, maybe inevitability, something significant just right around the corner, and you probably need to prepare or pay attention.
Got it. Okay, let's talk about implementation. Noun.
Right, implementation. This is all about the process. It's the carrying out, the putting into effect of a plan or a system or decision.
So you can have a great plan, but if the implementation is bad,
The plan fails.
exactly.
Successful implementation needs careful planning, yes, but also the resources, the coordination, the actual doing of the steps
Yeah.
to make the idea a reality. It's turning theory into practice.
That crucial bridge. Okay, now a verb. Imprison.
Imprison, to put someone in prison, essentially, as punishment usually. You read about someone being imprisoned for a crime. It's the direct act of confining someone legally.
Straightforward enough. Okay, inability.
Inability.
Yeah.
Noun. This is just the lack of capacity or power to do something.
So it could be physical, like
Wow.
an inability to lift something heavy.
Yep. Or mental, like an inability to solve a complex puzzle. Or even circumstantial, an inability to attend a meeting because you're stuck elsewhere. It's just describing a limitation that prevents something.
Okay. And related, perhaps? Inadequate?
Inadequate, yeah. Adjective, meaning not enough or not good enough. Insufficient, basically.
Like the funding for a project was inadequate.
Exactly. Or maybe someone's training was inadequate for the job. It points to a shortfall, a deficiency in quantity or quality. Recognizing something is inadequate is usually the first step towards fixing it.
Finding more resources or improving the quality.
Right.
Next, inappropriate?
Inappropriate, adjective, not suitable or proper for the specific situation.
Context is everything here.
Absolutely everything. Wearing beach clothes to a formal wedding would be inappropriate. Making loud jokes during a serious presentation, inappropriate. What's fine in one place is totally wrong in another.
Understanding that is key to social awareness. Okay, now you mentioned imprison earlier. What about incarcerate?
Yes. Incarcerate. It's also a verb. Means the same thing, to put someone in prison or confine them, but it's generally more formal.
So you'd see it more in legal documents or maybe academic writing?
Exactly. Legal texts, sociological studies discussing the justice system, that's where you're more likely to find incarcerate and the noun incarceration. It carries a slightly more official clinical tone than imprison.
Okay, so formality is the main difference. Got it. How about incidents?
Incidents, noun, usually plural. Refers to specific events or occurrences, often ones that are unusual, negative, or disruptive.
Like safety incidents at a factory or security incidents.
Precisely. Companies track workplace incidents. Police report crime incidents. Tracking them helps identify patterns, figure out if there's a bigger problem and how to prevent future ones. It's about data.
Understanding trends. Okay. Inclined.
Inclined. Adjective. This means having a natural tendency or preference towards something. A leaning.
So you could be inclined towards music or inclined to agree with someone.
Yes. It suggests a predisposition, a sort of gentle pull in a certain direction. It's not a firm decision, more like a tendency or a feeling.
A leaning. I like that. Okay, inclusion.
Inclusion. Noun. This is really important. It's the act or practice of including people, making sure everyone feels part of a group, system, or society, and has equal access and opportunities.
So it's more than just letting people in.
Much more. True inclusion means people feel valued, respected, heard, and like they belong. It's fundamental for diversity, equality, building fair workplaces and communities.
Creating environments where everyone can genuinely participate. Very key. Now the verb to incur.
To incur.
Right.
This means you become subject to something undesirable, usually a cost, a debt, or someone's anger because of something you did.
Ah, so there's a cause and effect. Like you incur late fees if you don't pay on time.
Exactly. Or you might incur the boss's displeasure if you miss a deadline. It highlights that link between your action and a negative consequence, often financial, but could be emotional too. You brought it on yourself, basically.
Got it. Okay. Indicator.
An indicator. Noun. This is a sign, a signal, a piece of information that shows or points towards something else.
Like smoke is an indicator of fire, or GDP is an economic indicator.
Perfect examples. A high temperature can be an indicator of illness. Indicators are valuable because they give us measurable clues about complex situations. They help us understand trends and make decisions.
Data points that signal something important.
Okay.
Indictment.
Indictment. Noun. This is a formal legal term. It's an official accusation, usually by a grand jury, saying there's enough evidence of a serious crime to proceed with the trial.
So it's a major step in the legal process, not a conviction, but a formal charge.
Exactly. It signifies that the authorities believe there's a case to answer in court.
Right. Okay. Indigenous.
Indigenous, adjective. This describes people, cultures, plants, or animals that have originated naturally in a particular place and have been there for a very long time. Native.
So we talk about indigenous populations of a country, or indigenous species.
Yes. And there's a growing recognition of the importance of indigenous knowledge, especially concerning the environment. These communities often have deep ancestral understanding of their local ecosystems. Respecting indigenous cultures is vital.
Absolutely. That traditional ecological knowledge is often crucial. Okay. To induce.
To induce. Verb. This means to cause something to happen, to bring about a particular state or action.
Like certain smells can induce relaxation, or doctors might induce labor.
Exactly. It implies a direct cause and effect. One thing directly leads to or brings about another. Often used in medical contexts, but also for emotions or states. Stress can induce anxiety, for example.
Suggests a direct trigger.
Okay.
To indulge.
To indulge. Verb. This is about allowing yourself or someone else to have or enjoy something pleasurable, especially something considered a luxury or perhaps a bit excessive.
Like indulging in dessert, or indulging a child's request.
Right. It often implies giving in to a desire. It can be positive, like a little treat, but there's often a suggestion of maybe going a bit too far, bordering on excess or pampering. Finding the balance is key.
A temporary letting go of restraint. Okay. Inequality.
Inequality. Noun. This refers to a lack of equality, unfair differences between groups of people in terms of their status, rights, opportunities, income, etc.
Big societal issue, like income inequality or gender inequality.
Precisely. These are major topics of discussion and policy debate. Tackling inequality means understanding the often complex systemic reasons behind these disparities and trying to create fairer conditions.
Highlighting unfairness in society. Got it. Next, infamous.
Infamous.
Yeah.
Adjective. This means being well known, but for something bad. Notorious.
So the opposite of famous for good reasons.
Exactly. A pirate might be infamous for his cruelty.
Yeah.
A historical figure might be infamous for a terrible decision. It carries a strong negative association with bad deeds or a bad reputation.
Negative fame. Okay. Infant.
An infant. Noun. A very young child, usually a baby before they can walk or talk.
And it's often used in specific contexts, right? Like infant health.
Yes, very much so. Things like infant mortality rates are really important statistics. They're seen as key indicators of a society's overall health and development because infants are so vulnerable. It's a critical stage of life.
Foundational aspect of public health.
Right.
To infect.
To infect. Verb. Most commonly, it means to transmit a disease-causing organism, like a virus infecting cells.
But it can be used more broadly, too.
Yes, metaphorically. You can talk about how enthusiasm can infect a team spreading positive energy, or how negativity can infect a workplace atmosphere. So it's about transmission, literal or figurative.
Spreading something, whether it's germs or feelings. Okay, to inflict.
To inflict. Verb. This means to cause something unpleasant or harmful, to be suffered by someone or something.
It sounds quite strong, quite deliberate.
It often does imply that, like inflicting pain or inflicting damage. A harsh criticism could inflict emotional wounds. It suggests imposing something negative, often forcefully.
Causing suffering. Got it. Influential.
Influential. Adjective, having great influence, having the power to affect people's opinions or actions or the course of events.
Like an influential author or an influential political figure.
Exactly. Their ideas or actions shape things, sway opinions, drive change, maybe leave a lasting legacy. Influence is about impact.
Having the power to shape things.
Okay.
Inherent.
Inherent. Adjective. This means existing in something as a permanent, essential, or characteristic attribute, part of its basic nature.
Like there's an inherent risk in certain activities or inherent beauty in something.
Yes, is something intrinsic, built in, inseparable from the thing itself. Understanding what's inherent helps you understand the fundamental qualities of something.
An essential, inseparable part. Got it. To inhibit.
To inhibit.
Yeah.
Verb. This means to hinder, restrain, or prevent an action or process, or to make someone self-conscious and unable to act naturally.
So fear can inhibit action, or a drug might inhibit a chemical reaction.
Perfect examples. It suggests something is being held back, slowed down, or blocked, either by an internal feeling like fear or an external factor like a chemical or a rule, a restraining effect.
Holding back. Okay, to initiate.
To initiate. Verb. This simply means to cause a process or action to begin, to start something.
Like initiating a project or initiating a conversation.
Exactly. It's that crucial first step. Taking the lead to get something going, bringing something new into existence, or starting a new phase.
Picking things off. All right, to inject.
To inject. Verb.
Yeah.
Literally, it means to introduce a liquid, especially a drug, into someone's body using a needle and syringe.
The medical meaning.
Right. But metaphorically, you can inject other things, like injecting humor into a situation or injecting funds into a company. It means introducing something directly, often something intended to have a quick impact.
Introducing something forcefully or directly. Okay. Injustice.
Injustice. Noun. This is the opposite of justice. It means a lack of fairness or an unfair act or situation.
So people protest against injustice.
Exactly. Social injustice, racial injustice. These terms highlight unfairness and inequality in society. Recognizing and fighting injustice is seen as a moral imperative, often requiring challenging existing systems.
The violation of fairness. Okay. Inmate.
An inmate. Noun. This refers specifically to a person confined in an institution, most commonly a prison.
So it's a specific term for someone imprisoned.
Yes, it carries that specific legal and social context of being deprived of liberty within a correctional facility.
Got it. To inquire.
To inquire.
Yeah.
Verb. This means to ask for information about something. It's often a bit more formal than just ask.
Like you might inquire about job openings or inquire about someone's health.
Precisely. It's often used in more official or polite contexts.
Yeah.
You inquire at an information desk or you send a written inquiry. It suggests a deliberate seeking of information.
A more formal way to ask. Okay. Insertion.
Insertion. Noun. This is the act of putting something into something else.
Like the insertion of a key. Or maybe data insertion.
Exactly. It can be physical, like putting a coin in a slot.
Yeah.
Or abstract, like the insertion of a new paragraph into a text or a new element into a database. It implies a deliberate placement within something else.
Putting one thing inside another. Got it. Insider.
An insider. Noun. This is someone who is within a particular group, organization, or situation, and therefore has special knowledge or access that outsiders don't have.
Like insider trading or having an insider's perspective.
Right. That special knowledge can be valuable, but it also comes with responsibilities, especially ethical ones, about how that information is used.
Privileged access or knowledge.
Okay.
To inspect.
To inspect.
Yeah.
Verb. This means to look at something closely and carefully, usually to check its condition, quality, or to find any problems.
Like inspecting a used car before buying it, or a health inspector inspecting a restaurant.
Exactly. The noun is inspection. It's about thorough examination, often against a set of standards, crucial for quality control, safety, compliance.
Careful checking. Got it. Inspiration.
Inspiration. Noun. This is that feeling of enthusiasm you get from someone or something, which gives you new ideas or the motivation to create or act. Or it can be the brilliant idea itself.
So a beautiful view might provide inspiration, or a great leader can be an inspiration.
Yes, it's often seen as that initial spark, the thing that ignites creativity, drives innovation, or motivates you to do something. It can come from anywhere, really.
That creative spark. Okay, instinct.
Instinct. Noun. This is a natural, innate tendency or pattern of behavior, something you do without thinking or learning it.
Like a bird's instinct to build a nest.
Yeah.
Or our gut
Yeah.
or our gut instincts.
Exactly. Animals rely heavily on instinct. Humans have reason, but we still talk about instinct, that immediate intuitive feeling or reaction. It's often contrasted with conscious thought, operating on a more fundamental level.
An unlearned natural reaction. Got it. Institutional.
Institutional. Adjective. Relating to an institution, a large established organization like a bank, university, hospital, or government body, or relating to established laws, practices, or customs.
So institutional rules
Yeah.
or institutional support or even institutional bias.
Yes, all of those. It refers to things that are embedded within the structures and systems of these large organizations or society itself. These institutional factors often have a powerful influence.
Relating to established systems.
Okay.
To instruct.
To instruct. Verb. This means to teach someone a skill or subject, or to give someone a formal order or direction.
Like a teacher instructs a class, or a manual instructs you how to assemble something.
Precisely. It involves imparting knowledge or giving clear guidance, often implying some level of authority.
Teaching or directing. Got it. Instrumental.
Instrumental. Adjective. This means being very important in causing something to happen. Crucial. Essential.
So someone's help could be instrumental in achieving success.
Exactly. If someone was instrumental, they played a key, perhaps indispensable role in making something happen. It highlights their vital contribution.
Vitally important. Okay. Insufficient.
Insufficient. Adjective. Simply means not enough. Lacking in quantity, strength, or quality needed.
Like insufficient evidence. Or insufficient sleep.
Yes, it's a clear statement that you don't have what's required. It points directly to a lack or shortage. Addressing insufficiency usually means getting more of whatever is lacking or finding a different approach.
Just not enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Insult.
Insult. This can be a noun, a disrespectful or abusive remark or action, or a verb to say or do something offensive to someone.
Like deliberately calling someone a name to hurt them.
Exactly. The key is the intent to offend or demean. It's designed to cause emotional hurt and usually damages communication and relationships. Best avoided.
Intentional disrespect. Got it. Intact.
Intact. Adjective.
Wait.
Means undamaged, complete, not broken or harmed. Whole.
So after an accident, someone might be relieved that their glasses are still intact, or a historical site remains intact.
Yes. It signifies preservation, wholeness, resilience. That something has survived potential damage and remains complete.
Undamaged whole.
Okay.
Intake.
Intake. Noun. This refers to the amount of something taken in or absorbed.
Like food intake, or air intake on an engine.
Exactly. Very common in health contexts, calorie intake, fluid intake, but also used technically for the amount a system receives or processes. Monitoring intake is often important.
Amount taken in. Got it. Integral.
Integral. Adjective. This means absolutely necessary or essential to make something complete. Fundamental.
So it's more than just important, it's essential, like trust is integral to a team.
Precisely. If something is integral, you can't remove it without fundamentally damaging or changing the whole thing. It's a core, indispensable part.
Absolutely essential. Okay. Integrated.
Be integrated. Adjective. This describes things that have been combined or coordinated so they work together effectively as a unified whole.
Like an integrated system.
Or integrated services. Yes. The aim of integration is usually to make things more efficient, seamless, or comprehensive by bringing different parts together smoothly, creating a cohesive unit.
Combined effectively. Got it. Integrity.
Integrity. Noun. This has two main senses. First, it's the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness.
Like a person of integrity.
Right. Second, it means the state of being whole, unified, or sound, like the structural integrity of a building. Both senses imply soundness, reliability, trustworthiness. It's a cornerstone concept.
Honesty and wholeness.
Okay.
To intensify.
To intensify. Verb. To become stronger, more extreme, or more forceful. Or to make something stronger or more intense.
Like a storm can intensify. Or you might intensify your efforts.
Exactly. It means an increase in degree or strength. Often happens when pressure mounts or when a greater effect is needed.
Becoming stronger.
Okay.
Intensive.
Intensive. Adjective. This describes activities that involve a lot of concentrated effort, activity, or resources focused on something in a short period.
Like an intensive care unit in a hospital. Or an intensive training course.
Perfect examples. It implies concentration, focus, and high effort over a limited time to achieve significant results or handle a critical situation.
Concentrated effort. Got it. Intent.
Intent. This can be a noun, meaning your purpose or aim what you intend to do, or an adjective, meaning determined or resolved to do something. Focused.
So the intent behind an action, or someone being intent on winning.
Yes. As a noun, it's about purpose. As an adjective, it's about determination and focus. Understanding intent is often key to interpreting actions correctly.
Purpose or determination.
Okay.
Interactive.
Interactive. Adjective. Describes something that involves communication or action between different things, especially between a user and a system. It allows back and forth.
Like interactive websites
Careful.
or interactive museum exhibits.
Exactly. They respond to your input. Interactive learning is often more engaging because it requires active participation, not just passive receiving. Promotes two-way flow.
Involving participation.
You got it.
Interface.
Interface. Usually a noun. It's a point where two different systems, subjects, organizations, etc. meet and interact. Most common use is probably user interface, UI, on a computer or phone.
The screen and buttons we use to interact with the device.
Right. You can also be a verb to interact or connect with something through an interface. A good interface makes interaction smooth and easy.
Point of interaction. Okay, to interfere.
To interfere. Verb. This means getting involved in a situation where your involvement is not wanted or helpful, often causing problems or disruption.
Like interfering in someone else's argument. Or noise interfering with sleep.
Yes. It usually has a negative connotation. It implies meddling, obstructing, or hindering something that was already happening. Unwelcome involvement.
Getting in the way. Okay. Interim.
Entering. This can be a noun, meaning the time between two events, a temporary period, or an adjective, meaning temporary or intended for this period.
Like an interim government or an interim report.
Exactly. An interim solution is a temporary fix while you work on a permanent one. It provides continuity or stability during a transition. A placeholder.
Temporary period or solution. Got it. Interior.
Interior. Noun or adjective. Refers to the inside part of something.
Like the interior of a house or interior design.
Yes. The opposite of exterior.
Yeah.
Often considered for both how it looks, the aesthetics, and how it functions.
The inside part.
Okay.
Intermediate.
Intermediate. Adjective. Meaning situated between 2 points, stages, or levels. It can also be a noun for a person at a middle level of skill or knowledge.
Like an intermediate language learner, not beginner, not advanced.
Precisely. It occupies that middle ground. Useful for classifying levels, like in sports or education, to tailor activities appropriately.
Middle level. Got it.
Intersection. Intersection, noun. Literally a point where roads cross. But more broadly, any point where two or more things meet, cross, or overlap.
Like the intersection of science and art or intersectionality in social issues.
Exactly. That concept of intersectionality is key, understanding how different aspects of identity, like race, gender, class, intersect and create unique experiences of privilege or discrimination. It's about where different factors come together.
Where things cross or overlap.
Okay.
To intervene.
To intervene. Verb. To become involved in a situation deliberately, usually to improve it, prevent something bad, or alter the course of events.
Like intervening in a fight. Or a country intervening in a crisis.
Yes, it implies taking active steps to change what's happening. It can be necessary, but often needs careful thought because intervention can also have unintended consequences.
Stepping in to change things.
Yeah.
Intimate.
Intimate. Adjective primarily, meaning very familiar, close, personal, private.
Like intimate knowledge of a subject or an intimate relationship.
Right. It implies closeness, deep understanding, privacy, trust. It can also be a verb, meaning to hint or imply something subtly. And a noun, an intimate, meaning a very close friend.
Close and personal. Got it. Intriguing.
Intriguing. Adjective. Means extremely interesting, fascinating, perhaps mysterious. Something that arouses your curiosity.
Like an intriguing possibility or an intriguing character in a story.
Exactly. It grabs your attention, makes you want to know more, to explore further. It has a hook.
Fascinating. Makes you curious. Okay. Inventory.
Inventory. Noun. A complete list of items, such as goods in stock, property, or contents, or the items themselves. It can also be a verb to make such a list.
So businesses take inventory to see what they have.
Yes, it's essential for managing stock, assets, supplies. Knowing what you have, where it is, and how much. Vital for efficiency and planning.
A detailed list of items. Got it. Investigator.
An investigator, noun. Someone whose job is to carry out an official inquiry or systematic investigation, especially to uncover facts about a crime or complex issue.
Like a police investigator or a private investigator.
Yes, their role is to gather evidence, analyze information, and find out the truth. Crucial for justice and accountability.
Someone who investigates.
Yeah.
Invisible.
Invisible. Adjective. Literally unable to be seen.
Like invisible ink.
Right. But it's often used metaphorically, too. To feel invisible can mean feeling ignored, overlooked, unimportant. So it covers both the literal lack of sight and a symbolic lack of recognition.
Unable to be seen, literally or metaphorically.
Okay.
To invoke.
To invoke, verb. To call on something like a deity, a spirit, a law, a right, or even a memory, usually for help, support, or justification.
Like invoking a clause in a contract. Or
Ugh.
invoking the Fifth Amendment.
Exactly. You're calling upon that authority or principle to support your position or action. It often adds weight or legitimacy.
Calling on for support. Got it. Involvement.
Involvement. Noun. The act or state of participating in something, being actively engaged or connected with it.
Like your level of involvement in a project. Or
Yeah.
community involvement.
Yes. The degree of involvement, how much time, effort, or connection you have, often shapes the outcome in your own experience. It's about participation and connection.
Being actively part of something.
Okay.
Ironic.
Ironic. Adjective. Describing a situation that is strange or funny because things happen in a way that seems to be the opposite of what you expected. The noun is irony.
Like, it's ironic that a fire station burned down.
Classic example, yeah. It highlights that contrast between expectation and reality, often with a touch of humor or poignancy. The unexpected twist.
Contrast between expectation and reality. Okay. Irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Adjective, not connected with or relevant to the matter being discussed or considered. Off topic.
So bringing up something irrelevant derails the conversation.
Pretty much. Being able to distinguish what is relevant from what isn't is really important for staying focused, communicating clearly, and solving problems effectively.
Not related to the topic.
Okay.
Isolation.
Isolation, noun. The state of being separate, alone, or apart from others.
Like geographical isolation or social isolation.
Both. It can be physical separation, but often refers to social or emotional detachment. We know prolonged social isolation can be really harmful to mental and physical health. It's a serious concern.
Being separate or alone. Got it. Issue.
An issue. Noun. This has a couple of key meanings. It could be an important topic or problem that people are talking or arguing about.
Like addressing environmental issues.
Right. Or it can be one item in a series, like the latest issue of a magazine. As a verb, to issue means to supply or distribute something officially.
Like issuing a warning or issuing passport.
Exactly. So it's either a topic problem or an official act of distribution.
Topic or official distribution.
Okay.
To illustrate.
To illustrate,
Yeah.
verb. To explain or make something clearer by providing examples, pictures, diagrams, or comparisons.
Like using a chart to illustrate data or telling a story to illustrate a point.
Yes. It's about making things easier to understand and remember by showing, not just telling. A very effective communication tool.
Explain with examples or visuals. Got it. To impose.
To impose,
Yeah.
verb. This means to force something like a rule, tax, opinion, or burden to be accepted or put in place, often unfairly or against someone's will.
Like imposing your beliefs on others or a government imposing restrictions.
Exactly. It often implies using power or authority to make someone accept something they might not want. It can also mean to take unfair advantage of someone's kindness, like imposing on their time.
Forcing something on someone. Okay. And finally, improvise.
Improvise. Verb. To create or perform something spontaneously, without preparation, using whatever is available at the time.
Like a jazz musician improvising a solo or having to improvise dinner when you forgot to shop.
Perfect examples. It's about adapting, making do, creating on the fly. It shows resourcefulness and flexibility, especially when faced with the unexpected. A really valuable skill.
Making it up as you go. Great. So wow, that was quite a list. We've really covered a lot of ground with these I words for C1 level.
We certainly have. From basic ideas like identification, all the way through to complex concepts like inequality or actions like improvise.
Yeah, we look at descriptive words like intriguing, important concepts like integrity, inclusion, action verbs like inquire, inspect, intervene. It's a really diverse set.
It is. And hopefully you listening can start to hear and see how these words work out there in articles, in discussions.
Yeah, pay attention to those nuances we talked about, like why someone chose immense instead of just big.
Or the difference in formality between imprison and incarcerated. Those choices matter.
They really do for clear, precise communication.
Yeah.
Mastering these advanced words gives you, well, more power in how you express yourself.
Absolutely. It allows for that finer control, that greater impact.
We really hope this deep dive has helped solidify your understanding of these particular words and maybe even sparked a bit more appreciation for just how rich English vocabulary can be.
Hopefully you feel a bit more confident recognizing them, using them.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Think about which of these I words you actually come across most often.
Yeah, that's a good exercise.
And ask yourself, am I always totally sure about the exact meaning or the way it's being used? Even words that feel familiar can sometimes reveal more depth when you look closer. It's all part of that journey of language growth.